Nobody better be making fun of my green carpet in my dining room. It's on the list, guys. Hey there, I am back in my sewing room today and I'm about to show you how to make a quilt sandwich without getting on the floor. So I'm Nikki, this is Pin Cut, so I'm not going to waste much time with an intro, but I want to thank you all for your very, very nice comments about my Improv Houses quilt. My Welcome to the Neighborhood quilt is what I'm calling it. I posted that video last week. If you have missed any of it, here's a little sneak peek. I have started the quilting process already, so I'm going to have a video soon about the hand quilting process and things I have had to remind myself of because it's been a long time since I've hand quilted an entire quilt like this. I've done some small things. But anyway, the other day on Facebook, in one of my quilting groups, someone was saying she just cannot get on the floor and make the quilt sandwich, and I totally understand. In my situation, I don't really have the floor space to do it in my current house. If I were to do it, it would have to be in my kitchen, and then I would want to like thoroughly clean them off the floor. And since I learned to baste a quilt on the table, I have finished a lot more quilts because something about getting on the floor, cleaning the space, clearing it off, and just being down there on the floor with pets around and all that stuff felt like a pain to me. And so I would avoid making large quilts for a while because I didn't like that. So I learned to baste my quilt on the table, and it was life-changing. I mean, in a small way. So I'm going to teach you how to do that today. You can save your knees. You can save yourself the hassle if you have little kids and dogs around of getting on the floor and basting a quilt. You can do it on your kitchen table. So that's what I'm going to show you today. And also to remind you, you can hop over to my shop and purchase the Improv Houses little booklet. I had to reorder them after the second day because they all sold out. I did not expect that. I'm so thankful. Thank you guys for really just loving this project as much as I have. I'll put a link to this below. You can also buy the digital version. So if you're outside of the US or if you just want it right away, the digital version is also available. And what else did I have to tell you? Oh, I'm gonna link the playlist to this entire project so you can start at the beginning with the houses, the trees, the finishing, the little half square triangles, the improv curves, and you can watch all those tutorials and try to make a wonky house quilt of your own. So let's hop right to it. Okay, so I have my backing created. I did not film this because making a backing is exactly how you think it is. You just piece fabric together until it's big enough. So I had this huge long length of this because it was on clearance. I just cut the selvages off of one end and stitched those ends together and then pressed the seam. But this is probably my least favorite part of quilt making is because I don't like making the backing. It's cumbersome and big and I have to iron so much, but I did it. So that part's done. So I'm gonna put that aside for now. And then you need your batting. I buy this bamboo stuff from Amazon now. I used it for my last quilt and I really liked it. So this is what I buy. I'll link you to it. It's lightweight and I did test it with a hand needle to make sure it was good for that, and it was. Contrary to what you might think, you do not actually start by laying out your backing, Layla. When I told Layla I was gonna make this video, she goes, "What? Don't make that video. Everybody knows how to do that. You just put down the backing and you put on the batting and you put on the quilt top and boom, done." So anyway, I'm laughing at her now because I just said that you don't do that first, and she goes, "Really?" So first you're gonna lay down your batting on your table, and obviously if you're doing the table method, you're gonna do it in parts because obviously the whole thing doesn't fit on the table. So I'm laying my batting out. Sometimes I put chairs there if it's like being weighted down by itself, but it looks okay. So I'm gonna get this pretty smooth. Maybe I will put a chair there. What do you think, Layla?
Looks like you're building a fort.
A fort?
Yeah.
Nobody better be making fun of my green carpet in my dining room. Okay, it's on the list, guys. So I'm gonna get this pretty smooth. Then I'm going to grab my quilt top, find the shorter end, and lay it out. So, going to start smoothing. This takes some time, but I want to make sure it's all the way on the piece of batting. Don't want to cut any sides short. So I have some overhang on all sides. So I'm just going to start smoothing out my quilt top onto it. When I have this first portion smoothed out, I'm going to scooch it down, smooth out the next portion. You can feel underneath if your batting has lumps and bumps. You want to get rid of the lumps and bumps. Okay, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect right now because we're gonna smooth it again when we put it onto the backing piece. Okay, scooch it down some more. If you don't have a large table like this, then you can use your cutting table and if you have one for sewing, or you can use a kitchen island, or of course you can do it on the floor. But doing it on the floor, like I said in the intro, can be challenging if you only have like tile or wood, or if you have knee problems, or if you have pet hair. I can feel a wrinkle right here. Okay, almost there. Okay, nice and smooth. So now I'm going to cut off my excess batting. Where's my scissors? Oh, thanks. Wow, this batting is like just wide enough.
It's like really fluffy.
Yeah, I ordered the twin size. I'm glad it fits. Try not to scratch my table. Okay, so I have this much left over. Next step, I'm going to go back to the top and I'm going to roll it up. If your quilt is extra big, you might need a buddy. Rollin', rollin'. Okay, now I'm gonna lift it and put it over here. Now it's time for your backing. Okay, my backing is bigger than it needs to be, but I actually kind of want the seam to be mostly in the middle. So take a minute to get your backing smoothed out. At this point, if you have a lot of fuzz and threads, you can use a lint roller if you want to get those off. I tried to do that while I was ironing. 2 birds and all. Okay, now I have some painter's tape. I'm going to use the painter's tape to make sure that it's kind of taut. I've seen people really obsess over this. You don't need to. You don't need to worry so much that it's like completely taut. But I do want the wrinkles out. And now that my layers have more layers, it has the batting and the top, it's kind of more challenging to get it taut. So we're just gonna put some painter's tape. Masking tape is fine too. Are you surprised so far, Layla?
No, this is exactly how I thought you did.
You're lying. Okay.
I was picturing more of like a duvet system.
What?
Like how you put a duvet cover on.
Okay.
Like, you know, like you make a duvet out of your top and your backing and then put the batting in there.
Sure. Okay, so now I'm just gonna center the best I can. Don't be obsessive. Center my quilt onto my backing. And because this batting is so sticky, it's pretty easy to do this because your quilt top is just sticking to it at this point, like Velcro. So you just start to unroll it. So I'm not going to unroll it all the way just yet because I'm going to start pinning. Some people use basting spray. I have never used spray. I'm sure it's great. It's definitely a less cost-effective way because the pins, of course, you only have to buy once and you always have them. So where's basting spray? You'll have to run out and get more. Okay, where's my pins? Here they are in my fossil watch container. Okay, a lot of my pins have disappeared. Layla. I think my family just thinks these are safety pins. Okay, you're just gonna start pinning. If you have more of a geometric design on your quilt, then it'll be kind of easy to just put pins in every similar space or whatever, but you really just wanna make sure they're like 4 to 6 inches apart. I'm sort of running low on pins. If I weren't running low, I probably would do more. Ow, but this will have to do. I can always go back and fill in, and if I feel like I need more pins, I'll go buy some more. Oh my gosh, I just remembered I have a really cool tool. Hold on. Okay, this is called the Quick Clip. My mom gave me this. It kind of saves your hands. Okay, a lot of the times I just like to show. Oh, look at that! Oh man. Okay, so there's a downside to pins. The Quick Clip kind of saves your fingers because it just gets under there. I keep it in my left hand. Layla's gasping. I keep it in my left hand with the pins in my right. It does help. And my mom didn't know where she could get more of these because I don't think they have them on Amazon, but I just saw them in my local quilt store. All right, I'm just going to keep pinning. Ooh, I'm trying not to scratch my table with these pins. If you are worried about your table, don't worry too much because you don't have to dig the pin in. Because the backing is also sticking to the batting, it's easy to lift it. Okay, now that I have this first whole row pinned, I'm going to move it. I'm just gonna slide it. I'm gonna slide the pinned part off of the table, smooth out my backing again, tape if I need to. See how those wrinkles come out when I pull it on this side? Don't want the wrinkles. I used to have a rectangle table. It was easier on the rectangle. Okay, and then I can unroll more of my quilt and continue pinning after I smooth it. Smooth it from the center and feel for any lumps and bumps in the batting. All right, and then just keep on pinning. Okay, I'm gonna move it again. Whoops. And unroll some more quilt. Getting it all smooth. Move it more actually. Definitely gonna run out of pins, which is annoying. But it's okay, because I can go get some more and I can fill in, or I can start, because I'm gonna hand quilt this, I can start a section and move some pins to other sections. Once it's mostly pinned, the rest is easy to move pins around if you need to. And then while you're quilting too, if you're finding like a bubble keeps happening, you can spread it back out and re-smooth and remove the pins and repin them. Yeah, this is the part I tend to avoid. Well, I don't avoid it. I don't enjoy it, but I don't avoid it because I know that. I don't know, the finished project is very motivating for me. And like this is the downhill slope. It's almost done. And I want the finished quilt in my life. So I'm not one of those people that has a bunch of quilt tops just laying in a closet because I worked so hard on it, I want it to be done.
I think I'd be that person.
You'd be the person who makes a bunch and never finishes?
Well, I have like a crap ton of granny squares
You're
that I
right.
just didn't do anything with. They're fun to make. I value the process.
You should watch my video on finishing things, Layla.
Did I edit that one?
I'm running out of pins, so here's what I'm going to do. I guess maybe this is bigger than the quilts I've made in the last few years, so I didn't notice how low I was on pins. I'm just going to pin the edge on this side because I'm going to start quilting at the bottom anyway. And I'll go out and I'll just order some more pins. And I can still start quilting. Look at this. That's not a quilting pin. Can still start quilting and then I'll just pin the other half when I have more or when I have used some. But yeah, that's it. And then if you want to, you can trim these edges if it's cumbersome for you. Or if your machine is kind of small and you need every inch you can get of not bulkiness, you know? Didn't make sense, but you can just trim, and I'm definitely gonna have to trim all of this off too. Definitely trim it though a few inches outside of your batting because you want that leeway. And then you can start quilting. So the next time you see this quilt, I will be doing a hand quilting tutorial for you. First I need to quilt some rows and give myself like a refresher course because it's been kind of a long time since I'm hand quilting anything large, and I'm gonna do a pattern called Baptist fans that I've never done before. So the next time you see this, that's where I will be, and I'll give you a little hand quilting tutorial with the supplies that I've tracked down. They're supposed to be the best. So I hope this has been helpful for you, table basting a quilt without getting on the floor, and I will see y'all soon. Bye. Bye. Hope they can't see the sweat glistening on my face. I'm so hot.